but the company is Moms on Call. But basically, they have set hours. So it's like 9, 12, 3, and then some of them are a little different. You wake them up, you feed them, you change them, whatever, playtime, and then they're basically up for an hour, and then they sleep for 2 hours, is kind of how it is. So the first night went great, first day went great, and then second day was pretty good, and then third day we're like, what the heck is going on? This is not work. Like, he was just like thrown off. And he was like wanting to stay up all day, and I think it's because he was getting used to like sleeping so much. And then we realized they also give you like feeding like suggestions on how much they should be feeding. So we upped his food to 5 ounces, like a full extra ounce from 4 to 5. And that was all it took. And he was like back on the schedule perfectly. And so we've been doing it. It's been almost to like the minute where he'll sleep and wake up. And if he doesn't, we wake him up. During the day, sometimes it's off by like 20 minutes or whatever, where he'll like wake up early, and it'll be just because he didn't feed enough, because I'm breastfeeding him all day. And then we're doing bottles at night. So his last feed before he goes to bed, and then one bottle in the middle of the night. And then he sleeps till like one bottle in the middle of the night, and then he sleeps till like 7 a.m. So,
Wow.
Yeah. So he's sleeping 6 hours once we put him down at night, and then waking up, doing the whole routine, and then going back to sleep for like 4 hours.
Okay, but let's talk about how you feel. Do you feel as though when you're doing the sleep training that, are you rested? Are you tired? I mean,
so in the beginning, it was more work, I felt like, because I was having to pump. Well, I was already pumping a lot. I actually stopped pumping as much, but the pumping changed to where I would have to do it closer to when he was feeding. And so I wasn't getting as much sleep because I was super paranoid, because we also decided to do the sleep training in his crib. So we completely eliminated the bassinet after like a few days, because it wasn't dark enough in our room. We were too chatty at night, or like just not ready to fully go to bed. So we'd be like whispering, or whatever. And he'd be like, like, what's going on? Like, is it time to be awake? So that first night in his crib, I had the hardest time, because I had like separation anxiety, and 2, I was just like super paranoid. I was like, he's really strong, and so he's already holding his head up and almost fully rolling over. And so I'm like, and I talked to you about this, I was like, what happens if he rolls over? And you're
it's
like,
scary.
it's
You're
natural
like, oh,
instinct.
yeah, now, yes, I think they do have, I'm not a doctor, so please ask your pediatrician. But I was told by others that when they can lift their head up and roll over, the drastically declines, just because you have that instinct. Like when your face is in a pillow in the middle of the night, if you need to breathe, like, okay, move your head a little bit so that you can get some air. And I feel like even though they are that small, they do have that instinct. Once again,
Yeah.
I'm not a pediatrician, ask your doctor.
You're not a pediatrician, no. Neither am I. But that freaked me out. And then basically what we did was we have 2 monitors. We had one that is the Owlet, which you ended up giving us because you didn't like it, right?
No.
Yeah. So I don't ever check it. Isaac likes it because it's on his phone and he does like everything on there. And I like it for the foot monitor, but I don't check the vitals or anything like that. Isaac does. I like the infant optics one. So we have 2 set up, and that one you carry around with you and just shows them.
Yeah, we have one of those. It's tech. And it's got the sound, and you can zoom in, and
Yeah, which brand do you have?
It's called VTech.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So once we set up the baby monitor in there, which was the first night, and I watched it, I just like woke up every second he was crying. I didn't sleep once that first night he was in his crib, like not a wink. But the second night when I realized like, oh, okay, it shows like the octave level. So it's like green, yellow, orange, red. And like when he's like in the yellow or orange, he's like fussing. And so you're like, oh, he's fine. And then, you learn your baby's sounds. And like when it hits red and he's like, oh, he's pissed. He's upset. He needs something more serious. So then by that second night, I was fine. But yeah, it's been going really good. And we have, Isaac and I have taken shifts. So we have it like very planned out on our phone per our therapist so that there's no confusion. And so Isaac has like bedtime to 3 a.m. So like 9 to 3 a.m. And so he's on duty, although I still get up and pump, so I'm up anyway. And then I have like the wee hours, which between you and I, he's trained to not wake up during those times. It's a win.
Wait, or Isaac's not.
What's that?
Wait, who's not trying to wake up during those times? Steely?
No, I said I made the schedule and Steely's not trained to wake up during those hours.
Oh, good for you.
Well, yeah, I'm like, oh, I'll take those hours. It's horrible time to get up.
Feel bad for me. Really, it's not that bad.
So then Isaac has again 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. time frame, and then I have like all day. But if I'm up in the morning, I'll get up with him, for the early mornings. But yeah, Isaac has him in the middle of the night, so that's great.
It's so funny because listening to you and Isaac's experience, you guys have everything compared to Jacob and I. I'm sure there's somebody more planned out than y'all. But compared to Jacob and I, who kind of just wing everything, like we don't plan for anything. We're like, oh, let's just see how it goes. And you guys have a schedule and you guys have times, because there will be times in the middle of the night where Levi will be sleeping on me because that's how he falls asleep. And in my sleep, I just pass him off to Jacob because I'm like, okay, get this kid off of me. It's your turn. And some nights he's very receiving. He'll be like, okay, yeah, it is my turn. And other nights he's like, oh, no, I can't be bothered. So it's like, we don't have that schedule. And had we implemented a schedule, which is totally not like us in the get-go, so I don't know if it would have worked, but I'm thinking like, maybe it would have eased a little bit of the exhaustion that I still feel.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were gifted this before Steely came, the sleep training, and we put it off because we didn't know, how important it was or if we really wanted to do it. So we like breezed through it a little bit before he came. We didn't like really like study it, and we didn't plan to fully implement it either until he went into the NICU, and then we're like, okay, this might work. But until we had a few bad nights when he came home of Isaac and I bickering, we were like, even though we had like a tentative schedule, like, hey, you're going to get up at this time or whatever, there'd be like,
Oh my God, it's your turn. No, I have for work in the morning. It's your turn. And you're like, take the fucking baby.
Yeah. And because he started work back up, his paternity leave was over. So like, there was some huffing and puffing and bickering going on. And then once we put it down on paper, there was less of that. And then what'd you say?
There's nothing that argues. It's on paper. It's like there, set in stone for you.
Yeah. And by paper, I mean in my iPhone.
Yeah, I know, whatever.
But even once it was down on like written out, we had one extra night of like, well, wait, I wasn't clear on that. That doesn't say exactly what I thought it said. And so there was like one bad night there. And then once we got that figured out, it's like in black and white, verbatim, and then it was like took the guessing game out and the stress, because it was taking a toll on our relationship a little bit there for a few days, because we don't ever really fight. And so we were like really bickering. And he, I mean, I can thrive on no sleep. Like I can just pick it up and do it. I don't feel good about it, but I can do it. But he is like, I'm so sleep deprived. Like he can't even function. So, which, I mean, most men are a little bit dramatic, right?
Little, a little dramatic. Oh my God. Well, I I think that now the transition is going to be, it's scary for us because, you know, you were saying how you guys already have the monitor and you're getting used to listening to his breathing patterns and like having his heart rate and knowing his cries and stuff. But I'm so scared for that week where we transition him into his crib and I'm going to hear every noise and have to run upstairs really quickly and check on him. So I think maybe there's something to be said about a sleep training program. And for the next kid, I might be looking into one.
Yeah. I mean, it is really challenging to get past that hump. And I feel like I got over it quicker than I expected to. But to get over that hump of like paranoia, and I feel like last night was the first night, which has been 7 days, where I heard him crying and I was still able to not look at the monitor. Like where, like, did he roll over? Like, does he need his pacifier? Is he choking in his spit up? Like, whatever. Last night was the first night where I didn't have to look at the monitor to know that he was okay. I just was like, he's fine. And if I hear, like, I got better sleep because of it, more sound sleep, because I was like, oh, if I hear that sound, then I'm like, okay, let's check it. So yeah, I would highly suggest a sleep training program, even if you're not good with a schedule, because I think it's good for your relationship, number one, and your sleep and your own sleep and your sanity.
Absolutely. And sleep training did work for us, and it's worked for almost a full year, and we're in that transition period now. I recommend it for anybody that is looking for more bonding time with their baby. If schedules really aren't your thing, which they aren't mine, and there's nothing wrong with either way. Different strokes for different folks, as they say. And I think that pretty much sums up our experience. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Britt, welcome back post baby. Congratulations.
I'm happy to be back and making videos for everyone to watch. Again, this was about co-sleeping or sleep training. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.